Everybody, it's Detective here, and today we're gonna be going a little deeper into that how it goes theory, and gonna talk about misinformation. We're gonna talk about the accurate knowledge and if it matters in a world or a system that could protect us from this false knowledge. And we're gonna also talk about strategies and also warfare, where accurate knowledge, for example, where is the enemy, might be a life and death situation fact. So yeah, I'm gonna make a statement. Near your home today is gonna happen a crime. And the best way that you are going to protect yourself from this crime is to stay home. Don't leave the home. The best way to not become a victim of this crime that's gonna happen near your home is to stay home. Yeah, that's a statement. And you're gonna stay home because either you believe in this statement or either you don't care so much that you would want to prove it wrong. You don't see the worth of proving it wrong. So I'm gonna stay home. Word, believe. What are we gonna believe? And then we come to the strategy. So imagine that this is not true. This misinformation. There's nothing gonna happen near your home. Even if you stay at your home, nothing will change the fact that nothing will fucking happen. Even if you leave your home, there won't be a crime there. And even if you have left your home, you would have been as safe as if there was a crime. I mean, why we live this way? Is it because we have this knowledge, this information? Are we being driven into fear? How it goes? Does it matter, the misinformation? In a world where that information, that accurate knowledge about the location of the enemy, so to say, we don't really have a fucking bear over here. You know, there's nothing dangerous there. And they try to explain, don't be afraid. And still they are afraid. Well, the best question over here is that, does it fucking matter if they are afraid? This is the insane level of this system that is in some first world countries. Misinformation doesn't even fucking matter. Well, somebody can say that yeah, because truth matters. Or that it's gonna create fucked up situations. We don't want that, you know. And if we think about really deep into this, create all kinds of even rules. Don't spread this misinformation. It's misinformation. It's conspiracy theories or something like that. Does it even matter if it's a conspiracy theory that really doesn't match to the how it goes? Because that's just how it goes. Conspiracy theory. Should there be any limitation in the spreading notions of how it goes? If there is, that's a new how it goes. That's how it goes. If you spread a notion of this is how it goes and that's false according to how it goes, then that's something that is going to be against the rules. And it's going to be punished. Because that's how it goes. Doesn't matter. Well, I don't know. Let's imagine a warfare situation. You have all played strategy games. You probably have not went to the wars. But if you have played strategy games, you understand that we have a map and you know this amount about the map. And then you have a blank. You have blank. This is just blackness over here. This is black. And you know that there's an enemy outpost over here. This is where enemies are, and it's a kind of a fortress. It's a kind of fortress. It has walls and towers and all that. And you know that there's coverage over here. You know that there's coverage over here. If you are behind this, bullets don't pierce this over here, and enemies are here. This is our knowledge of how it goes. But if we don't know that here, over here, there's actually behind us some spot that the enemies on the upper hand, they are on the leverage against us. They would shoot us from this angle from here. Then if we don't have that knowledge and we set our men here, they're gonna have a firefight with these guys. But they're still gonna be protected from these guys. Yeah, so think about it. Accurate knowledge, if we could say that we have limited knowledge in that situation. We are not all knowing. So the right way you would kind of go against this situation is that you gain knowledge of this area too, probably. But I don't know anything about war. And yeah, that's how I would explain. We have limited knowledge. And I would feel that a system this is how it goes, I think this is how it should go, is that a system should be so that the fact that some people have limited knowledge, which most I think we us have, wouldn't matter. Wouldn't matter. And in most of the times, even if they are being driven into fear, that wouldn't matter either. Even if their lives were kind of fucked up by that fear and the limited knowledge, that wouldn't matter either. Imagine this kind of system where almost nothing that kind of at the individual level of your life, fulfillment, satisfyment and enjoyment doesn't matter to the system. It doesn't fucking matter to the system if you are afraid, you know? Yeah? Then imagine if you're gonna be happy there. How it goes. This is the how it goes loop, exposed. The how it goes loop, we're gonna expose that loop. The loop of how it goes. Play it safe type of thinking. The home is the safe place. Well, that's probably how it goes. It's not how it goes. You can disagree on a lot of stuff based upon where you live, what you experienced, what you've seen, the previous history, whatever. Was the home the most safe place in the time of the World War II? It didn't really matter shit where you really were. The home really got just overthrown in some situations in the World War II according to the history of how it goes. If you were a Jew, it didn't really matter if you hid at your home. They would just come and get you. And that's how it went. And imagine this kind of level in a dictatorship where the dictator kind of thinks in his mind that this is how it's gonna go. And there's a lot of people that are gonna follow the command that this is how we're gonna do it and this is how it's gonna go. Imagine the dangers of it, but also understand the limits of that dictator. The limits of that dictator is that he cannot define reality up to the absolute type of a limit of how it goes. The dictatorship is also a kind of rebound from how it goes. There's no godhood in the dictatorship in that sense. You could say this is how it goes, and you can disagree with that. That's not at all what dictatorship is all about. Yeah, so everything I'm gonna say over here is a how it goes statement. And I could kind of paint you a picture and you can kind of feel that I'm learning something. And then realize that it didn't really matter shit if I learned this. Because that's how it goes. Education, the loop. Education. This is how it goes. Get educated. Your life is gonna go this way. education is life went this way versus going to the army in America. And a lot of us here in Finland are gonna think that you go into the army in America and it's gonna go this way. When there's probably a lot of ways it can go. I don't know. So, why does it go the way it goes? Who defines that? Why does it happen that way? You understand, probably at this point, that we are not all powerful as human beings. Even the dictator, does he really have any power? Well, you can say that, yeah, he has pretty fucking a lot of power to define how some of the life it goes. But if he cannot define how life goes, that it's gonna go and become really great, then what's a kind of a dictator like that? I mean, think about the Jews. Their life ended prematurely during World War II. And that's how it goes. But you can also ask questions. How would it have gone without all those extermination camps? How it went? The history of it. I mean, think about it. How would it have went if it wasn't like that? And then, can it go any other way than that? Well, you understand that a person like me, this theorizer, in situations of like conflict and combat and all this, I would be just there kind of thinking about stuff and would get hit by bullets, you know? But in that situation, I would probably also act differently. I would go differently because the situations go differently. So, when you think about your own personal satisfaction or insatisfaction, I mean dissatisfaction to life, all that depression and all that, think about the ways it goes instead of how it feels when it goes this way. Don't try to understand about how it goes, but just see into that. We are really not very powerful in the defining the way it goes. Do you have hope? Do you wish it would go different than this? And then come to the realization of understanding and power. Does education make you powerful? What is powerful? What does it mean to be powerful? Is power just that you can define how it goes? Well, how it goes for you or how it goes for somebody else? Can you really even define that? Can you only maybe guide that a bit? Yeah. What's real power? I mean, what's real power? God power. Is there even such a thing as God? Well, this is how it goes. You have probably noticed that, for example, wood is a different type of material. It's a different type of material than metal. Metal and wood, they are not the same way. There's something the same in them. They're kind of hard, both of them. But wood, if you have it soaked up wet and just sits in the water, it's gonna go just soft. It's gonna turn soft. Yeah. And have you also noticed that we human beings are also composed of some pretty soft tissue? This is pretty soft. Yeah, this is pretty soft, but there's something hard. The bones are pretty hard. But there's limitations to that. And these have the ways they go and how it goes. If somebody breaks a bone, it's gonna hurt like shit. I have never had that happen to me because I can't explain why it has not really happened to me. Maybe I'm just overly cautious and the world around me, I have just gone in it the way that I have had pretty good luck too. I could have ended up in a situation that kind of hurt pretty shit, but I didn't. So yeah, this is how it has gone for me. And we all as human beings, we have different kind of a past. And you probably cannot disagree upon this, that you have been yourself your whole life. You have been yourself your whole life. You haven't been anybody else your whole life. And when you just notice some individual in the world, understand that she or he has also been that person her whole life, or his whole life. And when you take a stance upon this is how it goes, you cannot really, or you can, of course you can isolate that situation and just act on that. But what if you appreciated the fact that that's how he has been all his life?